Hi everyone, welcome to the November Akri community meeting. We're a CNCF project, we'll be abiding by the code of conduct, and this meeting will be recorded. So if you don't consent, please hop off. And if you could add your name to the attendees list, that would be great. Um, so I'll be moderating today, and Lior will be helping out with the issue triage if we have time at the end. If someone could help us take notes for today, or we can all just kind of take notes together, that would be great. So there are a couple things I wanted to discuss. So I guess the first thing is the KubeCon recap. So we did have an Augury booth. I feel like the booth was kind of in like a bad area. Like it was at the edge of the project pavilion. And I feel like we didn't get as much people at the booth as we wanted to, but we definitely did have some interested developers that wanted to learn more about Augury and sort of the roadmap. Um, and I told them that, we'll be aiming for a V 1.0 next year. Um, and yeah, I think we also had a bunch of discussions with, different companies about probably doing something with WASMs, since WASMs are obviously gaining a lot of traction in the CNCF community now. And I think if we can use Akri with WASMs, whether it be running Akri on WASMs, I know we have that previous kind of older project with Akri on Crustlet. If we can maybe work off of that to update it, I think it would be really cool. And also maybe using Akri to sort of orchestrate WASM workloads to, these devices that we discover. So yeah, I think those are some of the discussions that came out of KubeCon. And um, yeah, I mean, Andrew or Kate, do you have anything else to add?
I would just say I wouldn't say crustlet is the way that we should
Definitely.
pursue the WASM goal. But I think that is a good project to call out because we might want to remove it from Project Akri just because it's so out of date. But yeah, there was discussions around kind of what you've been doing, Nicholas, of like um, changing what we deploy upon discovery, so changing what a broker is, and one of those things could be WebAssembly rather than just being a container.
Yeah, anything else to add? Um, Otherwise
No,
we can, yeah, go ahead.
not for me.
Okay, so next we can just quickly discuss the CFPs for KubeCon Europe, which will be happening, I believe, at the end of March 2024. Um, so I know that we discussed having a CFP for Akri V 1.0, and this one, Nicholas and I started working on it, but I think it still definitely needs some work. Um, I just wonder if having this will be like a good eye-catching enough story to be able to have this talk accepted. Um, Maybe we can just mention like having a demo. Maybe we can bring in some like AI inferencing since it's a really good use case for things like on-diff cameras. Um, so let me link this. And then,
A comment I got from one of my colleagues is we should probably be aiming to submit this one to Edge Day in addition to KubeCon, so we have more chance of getting accepted. And if we get accepted to KubeCon, then we can just drop for Edge Day, I guess. So we don't make the same talk twice.
yeah. Yeah, that's usually how we do it if it doesn't get accepted. The CFPs for the co-located events will open like I think a month later. So
I think I noticed, oh sorry, I couldn't tell, Eugen, were you still going? I think I have a delay. Did I cut you off?
no, go ahead. I think my computer's just lagging. Go for it.
Okay. I think if I noticed in it talking about DRA, which is exciting that by March we might have that in Akri. One other thing is I know with the device plugin interface, they had like reference implementations within the Kubernetes documentation, like they pointed to the NVIDIA device plugin GPU. So I think alongside working on this talk, it'd be really cool to have an extra avenue of talking to the Intel folks who implemented the DRAKEP to find a way to have Akri be a reference implementation for it, because it is a CNCF project and has been focused on this area. And so I think it'd be really cool to go down that line too. And that might lead to maybe another CFP for KubeCon North America next year. That's kind of a collaboration of sorts. But and I'm happy to like reach out to them once it's like whenever we feel ready to do that. Because I think that would get the word out about Akri and using DRA as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We definitely should reach out to them. So yeah, maybe when we have brushed this CFP up a little better, and I know we already have like the DRA proposal in our GitHub. Maybe we can like share that with them, and like it would definitely also be helpful to get their feedback as well. So yeah, maybe we can put that as an action item.
Yeah, for the CFP, the idea is that hopefully by March we'll have, well, at least defined everything we need to get DRA in, even if it's not yet in, but we should have enough to be able to present something, or well, to present how it will look like, or how it looks like if it's already there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for the proposal, I mean, I think the talk itself is good, and we just might need to we might need to take a moment to look at how to spin the proposal, right? Like how to actually make it look like something that people are most excited about. Like what's going to catch people? Excuse me. What's going to catch people's attention?
Yeah, I think having a series of demos would be cool. Like if the talk was just demo after demo, would be one way to go about it, of like different types of edge devices, different scenarios, and then you can mention all those different things in the CFP. And it might be a bunch of buzzwords, but yeah, it could be like credentials with your devices, and then inferencing with your devices, and then we could do WASM with your devices. Like if you did all of that, it could be like opening the world up to using Kubernetes with devices. But that might be completely derailing what the goal is. Like I haven't looked at the CFP enough to know if it's explaining what Akri is and what it does, or if it's more on the side of demonstrating what it does.
Yeah, the main idea I had with the CFP is basically explaining what is Akri to any that doesn't already know Akri, and also get to what we have new with GRA that will change how you use Akri for those who already know Akri that may be interested in knowing that there will be evolution there.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think we should settle on getting this one on a beginner level, I think, because we will more likely to target newcomers to the environment, as most of, I'd say, edge users currently aren't Kubernetes experts.
This is reminding me of one thing. When we were going about making Akri modular, so pulling the discovery handlers out of Akri, we simultaneously were having like a burst in community. And so we had a couple contributors come in trying to contribute to discovery handlers while we were tearing Akri apart. And then those contributions, which was a zero conf discovery handler and a co-op discovery handler, just dropped because it was just overwhelming to have to redo it and like in its own discovery handler rather than building it in. So I think that's something we should be wary of, is if we expect that this talk is going to bring contributors in, we should try to be in a somewhat stable state for them to contribute. Just one thing to know. I know we've talked about keeping the device plugin approach while we're adding DRA approach and after, but something that kind of came to mind.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nicholas and I said that we will at least aim to have like the APIs hopefully by March, or maybe at least yeah, and then I think we'll definitely need to do some like a lot of testing and performance benchmarks after that to make sure it's stable. And then that also I think brings us to kind of the next point, which is like the boundaries of Akri project versus like third-party things. So I guess like us as like a project, like I think we should talk about like what are we in charge of like maintaining, because like if we have all these like discovery handlers, you know, added, like are we all in charge of like maintaining every discovery handler, or should we, you know, pull that effort of like separating out the discovery handlers and brokers into like another repository, and then we mainly work on maintaining the core components and like the APIs and things like that. Yeah, I wanted to just kind of discuss that and see what everyone else thought.
My thinking is that as we get people wanting to contribute, having a couple of the discovery handlers that are in the main repo makes things confusing, right? Is now do we want to maintain a plugin that somebody contributes alongside that? Do we need to maintain it separately? Like, do we want to just say, hey, we'll just list the location of your plugin on a wiki, right? But while everything's all bundled in the same repo, that becomes much more complicated than it would otherwise.
Yeah.
I think we can start with having a section in the documentation listing the third-party initiatives, like extra discovery handlers or things that are meant to go alongside Akri. I don't know if there's any initiative like that, but uh, I'm thinking about like the PR about inventory if we ever merge that one, there might be some inventory providers that we list there. So this kind of things. So yeah, maybe it could be enough in a first step to have that list, so that people that create a discovery handler, for example, can just, okay, here my discovery handler. They don't have to think about, do I want to try to make it upstream, like a core discovery handler, or do I want just it to be on the side and maintain it by myself without having to, well, the constraints that would come with it being a core discovery handler. So especially if it's a discovery handler that's not in REST.
Yeah, or if it's discovery handler that is discovering proprietary protocols where you start running into lethal issues as well.
I think this
Oh,
also goes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick thought about the community stability before we go for on the previous thing is, we should have maybe a prepared list of need help first issues prepared for that, so that we can simply lead new contributors to simple issues and to things that are in our roadmap, so that they don't have to search too much to find out what they could do if they want to contribute.
Yeah, that sounds like a good starting step for me. Is there anything else on this topic?
Just a question. Do we think the biggest roadblock to pulling our discovery handlers out of the repository is figuring out actions and workflows and releases and versioning?
I think there's also some question about the embedded discovery handler, because currently this well the I'd say the core discovery handlers have a different architecture to what we show in the cargo generate template. So maybe we should solve that thing first.
If we publish them as crates, would that simplify it?
Yeah, probably, because it would be easier to pull them as crates in the other repo as well.
I think that would clean things up and as well. And we don't need to publish them as crates. They can.
But
They
I
don't-
don't think we can
yeah.
currently publish them as crates, because we are, well, one of the uh, rules, I guess, well, the policy of crates.io is that you don't have patches or Git repository links in the list of your dependencies, and we currently have the H2 that's still there, and so that could be currently blocker to get it into crates.
Yeah, so we can just do non-published crates though. Pull them in that way. I believe.
And the other thing that can make us draw the line, yes, in between Akri and third parties is licensing. Like Andrew said, if there are proprietary protocols or protocols that have SDK that are licensed, even open source, but not compliant with the one we are tied to by CNCF, we should probably see how to handle those. Well, we already have the issue with OPC UA, where the crate we use is in a license that needs a derogation from CNCF. So
How much work is it for all of the changes, right? Like if we were to just pick a date that we wanted to cut over and merge, because it seems like there's the build changes, there's the there's splitting up the repos, and then there is and I get the publishing of the crate, and they're all obviously all related, right? How much work would it be to actually do that whole set of changes? Sorry, it was. I'm tired.
well, I think we when the build pure get merged, well, they get fixed more is more appropriate. We should be able to pull out the samples quite easily because I clearly manage them in a separate file for the building, and for the discovery handlers, we should be able to build them by just copying the workflow we have for core Akri and just taking only the discovery handlers in it. It should be quite similar. But yeah, we still have all the crates thing for the core, all the embedded discovery handler in the agent, and this one may need some more work if we have to if we have to work around some of the crates requirements. So like I said, if we are blocked because H2 is in a patched version in our crates, then we won't be able to publish it as crate, and we won't be able to go any further. But That's
I don't
another
see why we
point.
need to publish it as a crate. We can just reference it using the GitHub URL to the repository as a crate. Like we can reference the crate as github.com/fermion/ I don't know, OPC discovery handler and pull it in that way
Yeah, sure.
with like a revision tag. Because I think that's what most like internal Rust projects do that aren't open source. So it's pretty, I don't this about that. And then in the future, it would be nice to publish a crate of sorts that helps people get started building a discovery handler. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but essentially, so that they could see like we could publish a discovery handler that's essentially a REST binding for the client of our gRPC interface, like maybe like a crate or a
We could
package for each
publish
language for that.
the crate, the discovery handler helper. I don't remember the
Discovery
name.
utils, maybe?
Yeah, discovery utils. We could publish that one. Well, try to publish that one because it basically have all, and it's also referenced in the generator, let's say crate. So it would be nice to have this one as a proper crate.
So I guess going back to Andrew's question, I don't think it sounds too wild to do. It sounds almost like one day hackathon where like we're just moving files and ensuring that things are building. But we do have the prerequisite set of finishing off the changing of the builds and those workflows.
By the way, the PR that fixes the build system, well, the publishing of the artifacts should be good. But well, I can tell until it's on main.
I'll take a look after this.
I was also just looking in the issue that's listed as issue to track for gRPC that caused the need for the patched H2. I mean, it looks like it's closed, so I wonder if we could just like move back to what the normal H2 that's on crates.io as well.
No, it's still an issue.
It's
I
still
tried to upgrade to
Dang it.
latest H2 and it's still an issue.
Okay. It's hoping.
It's just that the H2 people don't feel it really like an issue because it just well, they consider it a workaround around the specific behavior of the Golang gRPC library that is usually, well, not well used, so that they end up with an invalid header that should be ignored in this specific case, but it's still a header that's presented and it is invalid, so it makes H2 complain that there is an invalid header. So that's basically it.
I wonder if it'll go away with DRA. Like if for any reason the types of requests we're sending for DRA don't cause us to hit that. Have you found that at all in your exploration?
No. Apparently it's still the same implementation, and apparently it's been fixed in some versions, but I didn't find all the details, and it seems like it's been fixed at some places but not everywhere. So Yeah. Maybe we will have the good surprise and see that this is a place where they did the right thing, but we can't be sure that it will be everywhere we need. I'm trying to back a PR on H2 that basically says that since this is a header that is, well, not mandatory in that, well, that even shouldn't be there in that particular case, that it should be ignored if it's invalid. But, well, it's doesn't get much traction on H2 side. But I'm also, it seems like they are way more focused on H3, so maybe be just a lack of throughput on their side. But thinking about it, we shouldn't have the issue with the discovery handlers, because they should be able to use non-patched H2 since we are using the Rust gRPC server that behaves correctly. So probably could be okay.
So I think next on the agenda we had review proposals. Is that also kind of another way of like reviewing roadmap?
Yeah, for this, first of all, I think, at KubeCon, we discussed that maybe we want to have more ad hoc meetings to discuss proposals and the progress of things. So that's something that I wanted to bring up if people would be open to that, maybe like a bi-weekly ad hoc meeting, something like that. And then also just wanted to go through the progress of some of the proposals that I think we were investigating and implementing. For example, I know Johnson's been working on was it the external service inventory proposal? And, I know Nicholas had a bunch as well on like MQTT and DRA and things like that. So I just figured, yeah, maybe we can go over those. Also, so because I'm using my personal meeting room right now, it's saying that I only have 4 minutes left on this meeting time. So, Kate, do you think it helped me log into the Akri Zoom account and then we can like maybe switch over?
Yeah,
Could
sure.
also
I'll
drop and start another call if that doesn't work.
yeah, we could always just refresh this one, but I'll go ahead and try and log in to the other one and see if it works.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna see how I can be added to the actual maintainers list so we don't have this issue in the future. Um,
I think Kate made some of the process for it already, but I don't know how it works internally at CNCF to get
yeah,
everything.
there's like
I didn't get any special access, so in theory I should have got like access to the um, ticket board or something similar, but I don't know.
yeah, I'll have to look into how we can be added to actually accessing the CNCF.
I don't think I understood how to add the code. Eugene, how did you get to the point where they asked you to add the code?
Did it not ask you? For me,
No.
it was like, oh, you need to put in this 6-digit verification code.
Interesting. Maybe do you still have that second instance up? Maybe you've claimed that. I don't know. But I think we're gonna probably be kicked off. Maybe we just refresh a personal meeting.
Yeah,
Um,
let me refresh this one then. Okay. All right, if you guys could just, sorry, join the link again.